Hi, welcome back to the channel in the college process. Once again, I'm Ed from Principia Prep, and today we're going to be going over what high school senior students should be doing immediately. But before we begin, if you are new to the channel and are looking for additional college content, please hit the subscription button down below. It will notify you when new videos do come out, as well as if you have any comments or questions throughout today's video, please leave them down below in the comment section. I do answer all the questions you guys can leave here on the channel, as well as if you do enjoy today's video, please leave us a like. It does help the channel. As well as, once again, we are running the James Russell Memorial Scholarship for all senior students out there. We're going to be doing this scholarship program every year. If you want to be eligible for the program or figure out how to help us out to increase the scholarship funds for those seniors out there going off to college next year, very simple. In the description down below is the link for the video. You can watch the video and it explains how the whole program works here. As well as also in the description down below is also the organization's Venmo, as well as our buy us a coffee if you want to help support the channel here, allowing us to keep making these college videos for you guys out there. And all of that being said, let's jump right into today's video, what high school senior students should be doing immediately. Now, obviously with senior year starting up, a lot of students in September here, a lot of students are wondering, especially in senior year, what they should be doing right now, what needs to be put in front, what's the most important stuff, so on and so forth. So I'm essentially going to go into two different categories here of things you guys need to be considering right now. Stuff you guys can control and stuff you guys cannot control. Now let's start off by talking about stuff you guys can control and basically the important steps you need to be taking right now, especially in senior year. Now there's a couple categories here. There's essentially 5 different things you guys can control right now that you need to be addressing at this point in time immediately, as soon as possible. I'm going to basically go through each one of them from the least important to the most important, as far as the things you can do the easiest compared to the things that are going to take more time and more effort, essentially. Now, right at the top, the number one thing you guys should be doing right now, or getting ready to be doing right now, is looking at all the colleges you're considering, especially the reach and target schools and more difficult schools to get into. These guys, you should be going on their websites, specifically their admissions websites, and figuring out, do they offer any Zoom meetings or any virtual tours or any information sessions specifically on Zoom or anything virtual that you can sign up for right now. These are obviously the easiest things to kind of start showing demonstrated interest, building the relationship with the admissions officer if you haven't already done so, as well as getting more concrete information, more context and detail about the school, the programs, the social life, and everything else going on in the college. Tours, information sessions, whatever they have, you want to sign up for it because it does show demonstrated interest. And then also keeping in the same theme here with the easier stuff to do here. The second thing you guys want to be looking to do right now is sign up for any in-person sessions that are either face-to-face at your high school or at the college itself. Now these things are easy to sign up for. Basically 2 ways you can kind of go around doing this. First thing is check with your guidance office, your college advising office at your high school, and ask them, which colleges are coming to this high school? Who can I meet with? As well as, this is the list of schools I'm looking at. Are any of these groups, any of these colleges coming here? I'd love to sit down in the information session when they come to the high school, introduce myself, get their business cards, so on and so forth, get more information. This is what you need to be doing. This is the second most easy thing you guys can do to help on the demonstrated interest front when it comes to seniors, to obviously help out in the admissions world getting you accepted. Now that's the high school version of it. There's also the college version of it. I would be contacting the colleges. You can call them over the phone if you want, easy thing to do, and ask them, when will you have reps in my area? Will you be doing any information sessions in my area, at the Hilton, at the local community college, or even at my high school, so on and so forth, and get their take of where they're going to be, because maybe they're not at your high school specifically, maybe they're going to be at some other high school doing a college fair or open house or these kind of things where you want to show up. You want to sign your name in the entrance form so they know that you went there, you attended, i.e. more demonstrated interest. Remember, when it comes to the world of admissions, this is all basically done from a person-to-person perspective. Your goal as a family, i.e. as a student, is to get that person to like you as much as possible, to get to know you as much as possible. So if we get to that one situation where it's kind of a coin flip between us and another student and there's only one spot left, we want to make sure that we've done everything. They know our name, they know our activities, they know who we are as a person, so on and so forth. They can basically put, let's call it, a name to an application to make it harder for them to choose the other student when they're looking to accept students to that university. That's your goal here. And of course, then after that, the third thing, and now we're starting to ramp up into more difficult stuff that requires more work, let's call it, the essays, specifically the main essay, as well as the supplemental essays. Now, if you have not started with your main essay or you have not started on your supplemental essays, right at the bat, I would consider right now, this is the number one focus you should have. Because your main essay should be, at least at this point in time, in rough draft format. If you haven't even started it or you have no idea what you want to write about, you need to start jumping on the main essay situation, figuring out what you want to write about, and get basically words on paper. You cannot wait much longer because you're essentially running out of runway. Now let me explain to you what I mean by running out of runway. Many of you guys out there will have the main essay, which goes to essentially every college you guys apply to. Some colleges will also ask for the main essay. In addition to that, they're going to ask for supplemental essays. So if you haven't even done the main essay yet, you're just basically stacking up more work to be done later on. Problem being is that admissions become very, very competitive nowadays. You do not want to wait till the day before the deadline this stuff is due, or a week before the deadline. You want to get all your stuff out as soon as possible. Especially when it comes to working on the main essay and the supplements, you want to give yourself as much time, as much stress-free time as possible to work on these so you can be as creative as possible. Remember, the essay is really the only time, other than an interview or face-to-face contact with them, where you can basically say to them, this is the kind of person I am. I am someone who gives back to the community. I'm somebody who's a mentor. I'm a leader, so on and so forth. These things can all basically be transcribed essentially through the main essay. But if you're rushing to do the main essay at the last minute, these are when mistakes get made either on the grammar side or on the spelling side, or as far as transitions between paragraphs, or you put the wrong school's name on an essay. These things always happen. So you want to give yourself as much time as possible. And then that brings us to the next phase of this as far as the admission stuff that you control, which is part number 4 here, which is essentially the testing, the SAT and ACT. And this for me breaks into 2 categories here. You have the testing for the admission side, and you have the testing for the scholarship stuff. And I'm going to talk about the admission stuff first, and then I'm going to talk about scholarship stuff next. When it comes to admissions, right now you should know at this point in time in senior year when it's begun whether you're going to continue taking the test or whether you're done. And if you're uncertain kind of what mix you should be in, the easiest way to figure it out is this. Contact the school's admissions office or ask your guidance counselor, what is that school's median SAT score? If we're close to that SAT median and we want to improve, it's fine to keep taking the test. If you're nowhere near that school's median score, it's either time to either let the school go as far as the school we're considering, or what we can do is if the school is SAT optional, we're probably going in that direction. Now if the score is not working out, once again, we either have to let the school go, or we need to go SAT optional, but you need to figure that out basically in the next couple of weeks because you have to sign up for these tests very soon or else you're not going to be able to sign up for them because they do fill up quickly, especially the October and the November tests for the SAT and the ACT. And that's the admission side of it. Now let's talk about the scholarship side here. On the scholarship side here, the SAT, ACT are very important because of this factor. Many schools will gauge you based on your GPA and SAT scores for scholarship consideration. Now if your GPA is in the realm of a higher tier scholarship, but your SAT or ACT score are not there, I would consider taking the test again. Now if you're close, so let's just say the ACT requirement's a 30 and you have a 28 or 29, we can take another shot at it, we're fine here. Or if your SAT score requirement's at 1350 and you're at 1310 or 1320, I'm okay with taking the test again. But if you're 100 points off on the SAT or 150 points off, it's going to be a lot more difficult. Or the ACT are 5 or 6 points off, once again, it's going to be very difficult to get that scholarship requirement here. But that being said, that's the testing stuff. We really need to get it done. The only time you have a longer runway is for scholarship consideration because of the fact that some schools will actually allow you to send in SAT scores, ACT scores, all the way up until March or April, believe it or not, for additional scholarship consideration. You can't do that, unfortunately, in many cases for the admission side. Just kind of stuff to think about. And then the 5th thing here that you guys control that you need to basically get done immediately here is the applications for college. Now, obviously, the college admissions world has become very competitive. Just to give you an example, the last academic year, UCLA received 147,000 applications. That's an enormous number. NYU received 100,000 applications. There's multiple schools out there that received 80, 90, 100,000 applications. So the reason I'm saying that you need to look at this and focus on these 5 things immediately is the steps beforehand lead you up into sending out the application. So obviously when you send the application in, the earlier, the better. If your deadline is November 1st for a priority deadline or early action deadline or whatever it may be, first choice deadline, restricted early action or early decision 1, you need to get your applications in about 3 weeks to a month in. Most of the time we send stuff in usually 2 weeks beforehand to a week beforehand. You don't want to do that because you're going to be under a pile of a ton of other applicants. So you do not want to wait till the last minute. If you're doing regular or rolling applications in January, February, I'd be getting this stuff out in November as well. I would not wait till December or January unless I'm looking to see if I can get a good first quarter or first half grades to improve my opportunities here for acceptance. If it's not for that specific reason, I would be sending out applications as soon as possible. You do not want to be application 80,250 out of 85,000 applications. You don't want to be that student because of the fact that the admissions officer's already read through 80,000 applications. Your application will have to stand out dramatically to give you a good shot. And at that point in time, many of the spots, believe it or not, for admissions have already been taken. And then we talked about the first group here is a group that you can control. Let's talk about the second group, the two things you cannot control that you need to focus your attention on right now as well and get them done immediately or get the ball rolling, let's call it. And the two things you can't control are your teachers as far as the recommendations and the guidance office as far as sending out transcripts, recommendations, and secondary reports. Right at the bat right now, you should be discussing or talking with your admissions, with your guidance counselor, your college advising officer at your high school. And you need to have certain things in place right now. Right at the bat, your college advisor, guidance officer there at your high school should know what your college list is by this point in time. So then they know your game plan as far as early decision, early action, restricted early action, first choice, etc. So they can get their stuff ready to go as far as giving you release forms for the transcripts, the recommendations, and everything else. So then that way they're not delaying your application process. Same thing with the teachers as far as recommendations. Many schools here require anywhere from 1 to 3 recommendations. If you're not sure how many recommendations you need, very simple, check with the admissions office of the college you're applying to. You should be getting your teacher recommendations started right now because of the fact that the teacher recommendations typically take 2 to 3 weeks to get everything out. You do not want to wait till your applications have already been submitted and then start asking the teachers because they're going to be overwhelmed with your peers asking them before you do. And all of that being said, thank you for watching today's video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. I do answer all your comments and questions you guys leave down below. As well, if you do enjoy today's video, please leave us a like. It does help the channel. And all of that being said, on the screen is my contact information. If you guys need any help with the process, admissions, financial aid, so on and so forth, you can text me. That's my cell phone number. Text message, by the way, is the fastest way to reach me. You can also email me, which is the second way to reach me, or you can just give me a call. I do sit down with families. I do meet on a one-on-one basis to help out with the admissions and financial aid process through Zoom. So if you do need help, please feel free to reach out. And other than that, my name is Ed Zamora from Principia Prep. Thank you for watching today's video.